Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Reasons to Smile, episode number 9. This is the Pitbull edition. Now, Pitbulls are an interesting subject that are often stereotyped and stigmatized unjustly. I read once that... Actually, I read a few places, that only 1 in 600 Pitbulls will find a forever loving home. And that got me thinking that these stereotypes that people have unjustly put on them need to change. Trust me, as a person living with autism, I know exactly what it feels like to be stereotyped and judged as a result of something I can't control. So today, I wanted to make this episode a special tribute to Pitbulls out there to show the world that they are good. Now, let's get right to number 1, shall we? Link down below, there's this heartwarming video on YouTube of this Pitbull who was abandoned being rescued. They found this little guy on the side of the road. He was a sweetheart all the way through and just wanted loves. As long as I'm thinking of the right one here, he even sat on his rescuer's lap the entire time home. And all this guy wanted was love. And a couple months after this, his rescue, he was adopted into a loving home. I really recommend that you guys go check out this video. The channel behind this, Hope for Paws, is a really wonderful channel with lots of positivity and rescue videos on it. Please go subscribe to them. They are awesome. This video will melt your heart. Trust me. Number 2 goes out to an old childhood idol of mine. A man named, nicknamed Shorty Rossi. Many of you will probably recognize him as the host, star, whatever you want to call it, of one of my favorite childhood shows, Animal Planet's Pit Boss, which unfortunately is no longer around. It's one of my favorite shows of all time. Anyway, today our main man, Shorty, is a role model, but he wasn't always that kind of a man. Once, Shorty was a completely different guy. At one point, he was convicted of attempted murder, I believe, and winded up serving around 10 years in prison. Once he served his sentence and got out, he became such a different dude. In the years since his release, he's become one of the most well-known advocates for Pitbulls and has been responsible for saving the lives of countless Pitbulls and has become a symbol that inspired a lot of people, like myself, to do good and not to judge others for who they are. Now, Shorty, if by some miracle you're watching this, you are a childhood idol of mine, man. Anyway, this is a perfect example of how anyone can turn their life around, no matter what. Because the good this man has done will far outweigh the bad that he did in a past version of himself. And that is one of the most heartwarming things you can think of, really. Now, let's get on to the third one, shall we? Add a fancy slide to that if I could. Over down in Georgia, there's this Pitbull appropriately named Hero, who actually saved a woman from a knife attack. Now, our friend Hero did end up getting stabbed 5 times, but he did survive. It's alright, guys. And in a time since this happened, locals have rallied and raised enough money to actually pay for his medical bills as a thank you. Now, the article mentioned that our hero was looking for a forever home after all this. However, I should mention this article is from a little while ago. Please, guys, once you're done watching this video, check out the links in the description below. I include 2 bonus reasons to smile this week, all my sources, and some really good Pitbull charities, which I hope you can donate to. Because we need to spread the word about how good Pitbulls really are inside. It's the person, not the Pitbull. Anyway, back to the countdown. Anyway, if he's still unfortunately looking for a forever home, please, guys, help a boy out. Now, number 4, y'all know that I don't hate anyone. I can strongly dislike a person, but never hate a person. I myself have found hatred to be such a useless emotion that only hurts you in the long run. One such individual that arises my strong dislike being Michael Vick. See, after his operation was uncovered, the standard outcome for the Pitbulls rescued in his dog fighting ring was to be euthanized unjustly because they couldn't be a loving family dog. Well, one of those dogs survived and defied the odds and actually did find a loving home. His name was Ray, and he found love and understanding from a kind, compassionate owner. Now, unfortunately, Ray did pass away a few years ago, but when he died loved and happy. Our next story comes to us from New York, specifically the city of, God help me if I'm pronouncing this, Poughkeepsie. I really hope I'm pronouncing that right. Where this formerly abused Pitbull, who at one point in her life was living behind a grocery store in a parking lot named Kiah, she actually became the first Pitbull to serve in the New York City Police Department Canine Force, proving that Pitbulls, just like any other dog out there, can do it. Kiah is said to thoroughly love her job and has a wonderful enthusiasm for her work. Another thing I should mention is that doing research for this videos, I found a lot of other stories about how Pitbulls became police dogs, and this isn't uncommon. Multiple stories. Number 6, earlier this year, there was a Pixar, the massive animation giant by Disney, released a video about a Pitbull and a kitten bonding, and I must say it was a great little film. I linked it down on the description below. It's on YouTube. You guys can go watch it. I recommend you guys go watch it because it is a wonderful film, and you will love it. Our next story is about a Pitbull that... Try retake. No? There's no retakes, Director Matt? Okay. Our next story proves that the impossible is possible, that Pitbulls are in fact good dogs. And there's this Pitbull named Arlo who actually saved his owner's life from a venomous snake. See, his owner, I believe her name was Haley, was just getting home from work, right? And it was dark out and she was going up the steps of her home when Arlo, her dog, attacked the snake that was right there, that had already coiled up, ready to strike. Our friend Arlo took 3 or 4 bites to the head from the snake, but he was rushed over to the doggy hospital. The snake, later identified as a copperhead, was killed in the attack, but Arlo saved his owner's life, and he was rushed, like I said, he was rushed over to the doggy hospital, and he's expected to make a full recovery. He's all good, guys. Now, what have I been saying all my life? That Pitbulls are just like any other dogs, and they can be heroes too. This story proved it. Number 8. Oh, the knife attack story also proved it. So not too long ago, cell phone footage emerged of a man rushing past firefighters to go back into his burning house to rescue his Pitbull. Yes, he rushed into his house to rescue his dog like a true hero. Dude found his dog, named, I believe her name is Gabba. I wrote it down in the notes in front of me. In the bathroom, cowering in fear, and rescued her to safety. During the rescue, our hero was actually burned on his face, but he did not even notice until it was all over. No one was killed in the fire, but unfortunately everything he and his family owned, well, almost everything, was burned and destroyed. But he got the most value out of that. He got his family, and that includes the Pitbull. He went in to rescue him, as all owners should, because Pitbulls deserve love and understanding like all of us. Fair warning, our next story is a bit old, but it's still a huge reason to smile nonetheless. Okay, so this Pitbull named Olive, who spent 11 years, yes, you heard me, 11 long years in a shelter waiting for a home. Well, eventually, she found a forever home, and her new owners still spoil her to this day, and she's found happiness. Now, number 10 goes to all the Pitbulls out there who have defied the odds and found loving homes along with their owners. We have to remember that Pitbulls are just dogs like any other golden retriever, pug, Rottweiler, and they are not prone to violence in the slightest. What they are prone to is receiving bad owners who abuse and mistreat them to shape their mind in that thing. I find it interesting we often blame the Pitbulls for their actions when in reality it's the 100 times out of 10 where in almost every scenario it is the human's fault for making the dog aggressive. Pitbulls are not naturally evil or anything. To quote a dear idol of mine, Steve Irwin, Pitbulls, well, sort of quote, they're not just... I'm adding in Pitbulls here. Wow, I am graceful, huh, guys? Pitbulls aren't just big, ugly monsters waiting to kill people. They're real creatures who just want to live their life and find love like any other dog. Thank you for watching, guys. I really hope you took something great out of my rambling. Thank you very much. Make sure to check out the links in the description below.